So, unfortunately, for the second week in a row, the last match of this match week ends very, very late. If you live in the East Coast, it would end no earlier than midnight. Or if you live in my time, which is Pacific Standard Time, it will end right around 9 o'clock. And that match is between LAFC versus the Rapids that starts at 7 my time. So because of that, that pretty much ended my hope of actually doing the review first and then do the preview of the midweek games. And here's the thing about the next match week and what's very odd about the next match week. There's going to be midweek games, but there's also going to be weekend games. And from Wednesday to Friday or Wednesday to Sunday, there's going to be game every single day. And next week is also Heineken Rivalry Week, which means that all the big derbies is going to be playing next week, excluding the Cali Clasico. But yeah, because of that and because of, where I'm kind of like in a very kind of tough situation of should I preview the midweek games, which is the Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, or should I just preview all of them, which is the 12 games that's going to happen combined with the midweek game and also the games next weekend. So I just decided to do the midweek game first, and then I'll do the weekend game, which there's going to be only 7 games in the weekend games. But yeah, in the midweek game, there are a couple of big kind of derbies. We start off with the New York Derby. And this, of course, is pretty much the rubber match between both of these teams because this is a matchup where both of these teams has already won once in their first 2 meetings this year. NYCFC won the last New York Derby 1-0 at home, while the Redbulls, of course, won 4-0 in the first New York Derby. And I really think this matchup, not only it's a matchup that has the fact that who's going to win the New York Derby this season at stake, but Supporters Shield standings, and certainly this could be one that determines the Supporters Shield and who is going to be competing with Atlanta. Because of the fact that both of these teams drop points, and especially for NYCFC dropping all 3 points this week, this really is a big game for NYCFC than maybe it is for the Red Bull. I mean, the Red Bulls right now are tied on points with Atlanta. Well, actually, they're not tied anymore because Atlanta just won today, so they're now 3 points back of them, although they do have a game in hand over Atlanta. And NYCFC are now 4 points back of Atlanta. And I really think this game will really determine who can really chase down Atlanta. And you better believe NYCFC do not want to lose this one. Like, I talked about throughout the season of how they do not want to come in second in the Supporters Shield race and that they want to win the Supporters Shield race. Well, right now, if they're going to try to win the Supporters Shield and chase down Atlanta, they got to have to beat their biggest rival. And it's no easy task, too, because, the Red Bulls, I'm pretty sure, I think they rested most of their guys in that game against the Whitecaps. And, they certainly want to get something out of this game. And really, I think the Red Bulls, alongside with NYCFC, probably Atlanta's biggest kind of competition and probably the biggest threat to Atlanta in the Supporters Shield standing has to be the Red Bulls because, if the Red Bulls does win, and right now they're tied on points, it's, this certainly, if you're an Atlanta United fan, you would kind of root for NYCFC to try to get a win. But having said that, I think they'll also root for both teams to get a draw so they can distance themselves a little bit away from the Supporters Shield race. But yeah, this is going to be a very, very good game. Certainly, I would tune into this game. Might even do a live stream of this game, although this game starts at 4. So yeah, and I have to go to school on that day. So I don't know if I'm actually even going to watch maybe the whole game because I won't probably get back home in time for that. But either way, speaking of Atlanta, they of course play against Orlando City in what you might call the one-sided derby because Orlando City have never beaten Atlanta And I think this is like the 9th meeting between Orlando City and Atlanta. And Atlanta has either won or draw against Orlando City in all 9 of that meeting. And I don't expect this one would be any different. And I don't expect that Atlanta is going to drop points to Orlando City in this derby, because Orlando City is absolutely garbage right now. And I have a feeling that Joseph Martinez is going to break the record. And by the way, just a little spoiler alert for the review, he has now tied the record with Wondolowski and BWP for that record of scoring 27 goals in a single season. And there's just no doubt that he's going to break the record in this game. I mean, you look at this Orlando City defense of how weak it is. Yeah, this Atlanta team is definitely going to have a field day against this Orlando City defense. And, I would be really surprised if Orlando City will get anything out of this game. But moving on, next up, Chicago. They play against Columbus. So Columbus, of course, today lost 3-1 to Atlanta. But the good news is they are playing against the Fire. And the Fire is just, they are not only on a cliffhanger, but this team is getting closer and closer to actually finish rock bottom in the Western Conference. Or not the Western Conference, but the Eastern Conference. And I think they are actually rock bottom. I didn't really check the standings before I did this video, and last time I checked was last week. But for the Fire, it is just an absolute horrendous run that they're going through. And yes, I know that they have a lot of injury on their team, but there's just something that is not right with this Fire team, and how, of all this year, and how I've been talking about how inconsistent the Fire is, this must be a tough time for Fire fans to deal with, because as much as they don't like the way that the team kind of gone in an inconsistent form, this is a complete free fall that this team is in. And, I really don't think it's going to be any different when they play against the Columbus Crew, who, that loss against Atlanta, it's... I wouldn't say that's a very bad loss for Columbus, because Columbus is in a situation where I don't think they are going to be dropped out of the playoff unless they have a massive collapse, or they're probably not going to catch NYCFC or the Redbulls in those top 3 spot or those top 2 spots. So really, they're kind of like stuck in this 4th place kind of limbo. And I guess maybe this is a good opportunity for Greg Berhalter to try out some things before the playoff comes. But, I expect Columbus to win this one. I really think that Chicago, of how bad they are, they're right now easily the worst team in the league right now. I mean, in my opinion, I think they're even worse than the Quakes right now, because of how they just keep losing. Like, nobody on this team has any confidence. And, again, I don't see how Chicago is going to end this miserable winning or losing streak that they are in. But moving on, next up, before we get to El Trafico, which I'll get to last, we got the Texas Derby between Houston versus FC Dallas. This is the second meeting between both of these teams, and both of these teams are actually going to meet again, I think, in September 8th. So, they're going to meet again in a couple weeks, and I think that, I'm not quite sure if that one is at Houston or Dallas, but, both teams, of course, drew 1-1 in their first meeting, and in fact, the last 4 meetings, it has all ended in a draw between both of these teams, and 5 of the 6 time that they have meet, it has also ended in a draw. So, this could potentially end in a draw. Although, when you look at this game and just look at how Houston is right now, I mean, this is a must-win game for them. I mean, right now, you look at what the Dynamo situation is and how many times they blow leads late in the game, and how they're just putting themselves further and further away from actually maybe competing for the playoff spot. This is really the last nail in the coffin if Houston do lose this one. And, for FC Dallas, that was a good win against Minnesota, but now they, of course, have to go on the road against their hated rival. And, we'll see what happened with this game. But all I'll say is that Houston have to win this. If they do not win this, and if they do not get 3 points in this, their playoff hope is done. And there's just no way in the world does Houston keep dropping points and you expect them to potentially make it to the playoffs. Especially, you look at teams right now in the Western Conference, and teams like Seattle, Vancouver are distancing themselves and are on kind of a little bit of a hot streak to trying to chase down those teams. And Houston themselves are not doing themselves any favor and just dropping points. I just don't think that they are going to make the playoffs if they're going to keep dropping points. And I think this is the last straw for them. This is really the last chance, or else they're done. They're finished. But moving on into El Trafico, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that a lot of you want me to talk about, and maybe might be one of the most kind of game that a lot of people would keep an eye on. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will watch the New York Derby, but this one gonna take place on Friday. It's between the Galaxy and LAFC. This one is gonna be at StubHub Center, and we all know what happened the last time El Trafico happened at StubHub Center. That was just almost like a movie that I just watched between the Galaxy and LAFC, especially with Zlatan of probably the best debut and even scoring probably the best goal we have ever seen in MLS. And I'm pretty sure that probably won't happen in this game of the way that the first meeting has happened. But when you look at this game, and I really think for the Galaxy, this is a game that they has to be very nervous coming into this game and don't have a lot of confidence, because this Galaxy team, which I will of course talk about doing the review, absolutely hit rock bottom against the Sounders. And that defense of how I've been saying it's been so poor for the last couple of games, well, that defense just basically hit rock bottom and gave up 5 goals against the Sounders. And when you look at this Galaxy team, when you even look at the standings, they're not that far away from dropping out of the playoffs. And when you look at this LAFC team, and this LAFC team, haven't been in a good form lately, although they did get a pretty good win they got a good win in the last match, and potentially they're going to get another win against the Rapids later tonight. I just think LAFC can finally kind of break through in this El Trafico, and surely twice that they have noticed that they have blown leads late in the game. I'm pretty sure they're not going to do it again. I mean, are they actually going to do it again? Are they actually going to blow another lead late in the game to the Galaxy? But yeah, I mean, when you look at this game, I still think LAFC has the upper hand in this. I just don't trust that defense from the Galaxy, and as much as they have some very good attacking piece in their disposal, if their defense just completely shit the bed against LAFC, I really think that LAFC is gonna take those chances, and the Galaxy will not find a way to get back. And also, it just goes back to me saying that I just don't think the third time when LAFC play the Galaxy, if they have the lead, surely the third time they're not going to blow it in this game. But either way, that is pretty much it for all the games that's going to happen in the midweek. And, there's going to be more kind of derby games in the weekend game too, including the Cascadia Derby that happens on Sunday. But for now, I'm just going to preview the midweek game, and I don't know when I'm going to do a review of this. I think I'm going to do it on Friday night, right after El Trafico. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I, of course, will see you guys next time.